Okay, I thought I would bring on Evan for a video, do a little preseason predictions, chat, touch base, talk about what we're gonna see unfold over the next few months. But our main thing we're gonna do is our top three wishes for 2026 because at this point nobody knows what's going to happen. We're going to do a little predictions. We're going to try to see if we can guess which teammate is going to win with each driver lineup. But mainly this is going to be a manifestation hour and we're going to express our hopes and dreams for the 2026 season. Evan, thank you for coming.
Happy to do this. When I actually get around to restarting the Scrimshaw show, I'll have to have you back on my platform. Thanks for having me. I finally was able to find a way to ask to come on your post race and post quality lives. So, those have been a lot more fun this year.
Yes, after every race, I do go live. Evan will always be there. It's nice to have someone to talk to because I used to do them with Connie, and obviously she doesn't make videos anymore. And then Dev started doing her own, so it's a little bit less fun when you're just talking to yourself and to people, obviously. But it,
Well, and I hate to be mean about you on your own platform, but your grasp of the fine details cannot always be the best, and so it's a lot easier to like I don't want to say correct you, but like talk through, especially with like Ferrari bullshit, right? Like
yeah,
Hungary, I'll never forget. Like Hungary was the ultimate one where it's like, it's just better for like the audience that I am there because Ferrari are trying to gaslight us,
yes.
and I will not be gaslit because
No,
I have a
I can't
memory for shit
remember.
like this.
I can't remember numbers, and it's a real problem in my life and in Formula One. Oh, yeah. And also, unfortunately, to figure out what's going on at Ferrari, it's often like Charlie Kelly style, like we're connecting things with string levels
Oh
of.
yeah, no, it is right. And so like sometimes we just need to talk this because I remember it was Spain last year when Charles took the extra when he saved the extra set of tires
Yes.
for the race, and I just remember like I was like yelling at you in the comment section, and then I think one of us was just like, okay, so you should just like come on the live.
Yeah. Well, I thought
This
that
will just
was
be
me
so much
being
easier.
that was me being dumb though, because this whole time I've been watching F1, when they were talking about like, oh, you have to give back the tires. I thought that they just had to like turn their tires in every night to make sure they weren't fucking like I didn't know that you like lost access to those tires, if that makes sense. I thought they were just used, so like why would you use a used set? You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. Well, and that's the thing is that this is like F1 also has a ton of obtuse rules that kind of don't make any sense. Like,
Yeah.
and none of this information, like the broadcast does a pretty good job of communicating it, and like the app is better than a lot of places. It's the first day of the PGA Tour season, and like attempting to find out what's happening to some of your guys during PGA Tour events is like literally impossible. It feels sometimes,
Yeah.
but the number of times I have not really understood the tire situation and just kind of had to pray to God that Mercedes didn't do something ridiculously stupid by burning an extra set of soft tire, like of new tires when I didn't think they needed to. I'm like, well, they clearly think they've got five tires for this session. I
So,
don't know what they did in practice to get that, but good for them, I guess.
yeah, it
Like,
also doesn't help that the rules are constant. They change every single year. Like,
well, so there's sprint races, you have one less set of tires, and then some weekends teams will run tires in practice, and then sometimes they don't, and then sometimes when there's a wet session, that changes like that can change the whole tire calculus. It's a mess. But that's why we love the sport. And
yes,
also why Crofty is so goddamn important.
literally. And it is you need it because like I think about this all the time going back and watching 2010. It's actually just a completely different set of rules. Like they'll explain something and I'm like, oh, like I was thinking it was the complete opposite because they've changed it since then. I will say everyone wants to bring back refueling. I I'm like, we don't need another thing to keep track of. And because it's impossible to tell how much fuel is in the car, it makes it so much harder to like deduce what's happening strategically.
I watched Crashgate. What year was that? Singapore 2008.
2007. No, eight. You're right. You're right. It's eight.
Yeah. Literally literally had no idea what the f was happening in that race, like
Yeah,
at
well, because
all.
also then the crux of like how that race unfolds is that it was illegal to pit. They closed the pit lane during safety cars, and so it was illegal to pit during, and you had to take a penalty. So by
You had to take a drive through.
yeah,
Like
and
what a
but
what a
also because
stupid
of the
what
re
a what a
so
stupid system.
so stupid, especially in the era of refueling, because then it's like if you can get into a situation as they did during that race, which is why they had him crash when they crashed because they knew this would happen, is if that safety car starts edging into your pit window and edging beyond your pit window, you can get to a point where you literally have to pit because you're out of gas. So even if this rule is for safety reasons, which I don't see how it would be, because how does that have anything to do with the pit lane? But you're getting to a point where like there are probably a lot of situations where people are going to be forced to pit anyway and take that penalty. And it was just, and like, I don't know, I would have to go back and like look why that was a rule, but I was like, this,
Well, it's just so funny because like the incentives then were you wanted to have hit right before a safety car,
Mhm.
right? That was what was best for you. And now
That's like the
it's
worst
you
possible.
exactly. And so like it's so but again, that's the
Well,
step
the
one,
best thing,
completely changing the incentive structure for kind of no reason.
right. And
The F1 special, baby.
they love to do it. But also, the best thing to do then was what Red Bull did during that race, which is see someone crash, know that there's about to be a safety car because you know there's no crane on turn 17, and then pit immediately and get in before they close the pit lane and then get back out. But because as long as you were over the pit line, like that white line, before they closed the pit lane, you are good. You're not going to get a penalty. And so both Red Bulls got to pit, and so like they weren't as screwed as some of the other. But also you have to be on the right way. The thing is, on its surface, it's like okay, you're eliminating the sort of jeopardy of the pit stop, but I'm like, it just adds jeopardy in another way. You know what I mean? People are still benefiting from it if other people are suffering, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and also like frankly, the famous Felipe Massa thing, like that's not a better form of Jeopardy. Like it's not
No.
it's funnier and I'm glad it has happened in F1 history, but like we do not need Ferrari mechanics running down the pit lane in what is still the funniest bit of content to ever exist.
So them the with the can again, the camera work in F1 like honestly has no right being as good as it is. The fact the way it just cuts to them like a close up of all of them like passed in their little suits. And then all of a sudden you get like a super wide angle of the pit lane and you can just see all of their teeny tiny little. It's so, but also,
What is a better bit? What is a better bit of comms and camera work? That or them cutting to Ted Kravitz during the monsoon of the 2007 Japanese Grand Prix for
that
him
was
to just
awesome.
yell, "There was an email. Charlie Whiting sent an email. All the teams knew they
He's
couldn't be
literally,
on inters."
it's also like the unintentional comedy of like, he's literally Anderson Cooper, like hurricane reporting for kind of no reason. Like he could be telling us this inside, you know what I mean? He's
Yeah, no,
literally,
there's no reason for him to be outside. He's just doing it for the love of the game.
and I'm so glad he did. No, I think that the running is funnier simply because like the because of the McLaren mechanics in the background like cheering them on. And also just because like it's Ferrari, you know what I mean? It that
And
is
so it's Brundle and whoever was doing comms at the time. I don't remember if it was still Mary Walker or it was the other guy. Being
no,
like,
it's what's his face? The one in between.
Okay. Yeah. That
Who
is. I
Brendel
don't.
hates. Honestly, it's so it can be it gets like I feel awkward at times like listening to some of those races. I'm like Martin Brundle does not fuck with this man like at all.
I can't watch 2009. I can kind of get through 2010 because it's a good enough season. I can't watch 2009. It's unwatchable because of that combo. But so it's like Brundle being like, technically, if he doesn't cross the line, he can, they can pull it out. And then it's just like we've got Ted in the pit lane. And then he just goes, or Brundle's just going like, they could just do this,
Yeah.
they could do this. And then it just cuts to Ted being like, "They're running, don't worry," and that's when the camera pans. It's the funniest thing.
The best, I
So the
will say,
team. Oh,
we will get started, but I must mention, since we're talking about the best F1 camera work of all time, the undisputed gold medalist, the multi 21 cool down room, and the way it's swinging to like such a tight shot on both of them. But the best part of the whole thing is Adrian Newey standing in the middle, looking more uncomfortable than a person has ever looked in their entire life. He's literally, and he's like staring directly into the camera. Like, it's so, he, and he's like slightly ahead. So it's like they're in the background, like about to maul each other. It's too good. It's too good. But yes.
do we want to start? Do we want? We should probably go bottom to top, right?
Okay.
I guess Cadillac is 11th. Let's
Yes.
go by last year's constructor standings, which means I will pull up the 2025 constructors.
I just have
But
the lineup. So if you have the order, but Cadillac,
yeah,
I think
Cadillac, you come 11th because you scored 0 points last
yeah.
year. Sergio Perez and Valtteri
This
Bottas.
is honestly low-key one of the more interesting teammate lineups this year because I don't really like I am curious. It was kind of like the Carlos Alex one last year where it's like we really just don't have a good like common point of comparison even or a comparison between them. But I am gonna put my money on Checo. Number one, because Valtteri's been out of it for a year, but also,
I mean, so is Checo.
oh yeah, you're right. I forgot. I literally just forgot about like the existence of Liam Lawson for a second. The yeah, I feel like Checo was I feel a better driver if you take their non-top team careers. I think Checo had a better one. And also, it's like, yes, Valtteri did better at Mercedes. However, I don't count the like Red Bull dark days. And like that Mercedes car was so good. And I remember, I'll never forget 2020. This kind of like radicalized me against Valtteri. Not against, he's fine, whatever. But they would every time he would be freaking stuck in the pack in 2020 and 2021, they'd be like, "Oh, the Mercedes, it's just not built to follow, like it doesn't handle dirty air well, like the engine overheats, like blah blah blah." But then Lewis Hamilton would have an engine penalty and he'd start P10 and he would be P2 by the sixth lap. So I'm like, it's funny that it only like can't overtake when Valtteri is driving, you know what I mean? And I feel like that's going to be more of an issue in the middle to back of the grid than it was at Mercedes or it would be at any top team. So I'm going Checo, but this is an interesting one for me. Like I'm not really sure.
I'm going Valtteri. I think he's a better qualifier than
That's true. He
Checo
is a really good
is.
qualifier. That is a strength of his.
And I just think getting priority will probably be very important at Cadillac. And I think getting the optimum strategy will be fairly important. And, so that is kind of my one. I think Checo's good. It's funny. I think Valtteri is probably going to win, and Checo is still probably going to keep his seat because obviously
Money.
Colton Herta
Oh,
is going to get the second seat, assuming he can get enough super license points in F2 this year.
done if he didn't. Sorry,
It
that's
would be
me.
the
Oh my God, the IndyCar people are gonna come for me again. I already got in
who
trouble
is
once
in.
upon a
So
time.
we need Dev's girl or Dev's guy Lindblad.
Lindblad, yeah.
He promoted. He got promoted,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, he's
Yeah, that's why
not
Yuki got screwed. Okay, then who's in F2? Do we know
Girl,
any of the
you
F?
gotta
Do
ask
I know
Dev.
any of the F2 people? Yeah, no. We need to know who the next people are.
The only
Just for
F2
cold
people
hard out
I
of
know are
this.
the ones Dev talks about. She's my exclusive source on Formula 2. So
Yeah, I mean, I think Lindblad might secretly have needed a second F2 season, but we'll see.
I just
Um,
can't. It's like,
a second F2 season is why Logan Sargent's just never was good enough.
don't trigger me. You're trying to rage bait me on purpose, and I won't fall for it.
Uh, yes, yes, you have and you will.
Mhm.
Alpine 10, Franco Colapinto and Pierre Gasly. Remember when you came on the Scrimshaw show last year and said Franco Colapinto would be the fifth most impressive driver of the season?
Yeah, listen, I was thinking with my heart, not my mind on that one.
Were you
No.
thinking with your heart or were you thinking with a different body
Did you
part?
see the video of him running shirtless in the rain the other day?
Oh, yes, I did.
He is the hottest man in the world to me. And
He's not even the hottest man on this team, okay?
yeah, I don't find Pierre Gasly attractive. I think he looks like a squirrel. Which no hate, no shade. I don't think he's probably dying to sleep with me either. His girlfriend smoke show, so you know. But yeah, I think he's squirrel-like to me.
Pierre
But I
Gasly,
think
I think is the
obviously,
obvious answer.
yeah, obviously, I think Pierre is gonna win. Yeah, I was like, Franco's gonna win a world championship.
Well, I mean, Franco was like the first person to beat Alex in a head to head in in like a
Yeah,
qualifying head to head
yeah,
in
but
like
that was also like
two and a
that
half
car was
seasons. So
that,
like
yeah, but that
there
was
was reason
also
there was reason to have faith in Franco.
there was he had like he showed potential, but I was
And
wrong
then
for
and then at the end of last year he settled in. Like I actually think Franco could be like interesting and do stuff, but yeah,
yeah,
I mean Pierre because Pierre, the way he ended the season, he dragged that car to places it did not
yeah.
belong,
No,
which
Pierre's good.
is which is the Pierre Gasly special. Four cars that finished sixth or below in the constructors on the podium. Pierre Gasly,
Yeah,
king shit.
I think he could be a good like Valtteri. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think Pierre like should be like that second driver of the top team. I think he's like overqualified. He's like an overqualified two. He's like an underqualified. He's like a midfield one, not an elite team
That's
one.
why I said like a Valtteri figure because it's like when you
Yeah,
are number two at a top team, it's because he could be a good number two to like a number one that was a top tier talent. You know what I mean?
yeah. No,
And
he would be. If we'll get to some things in the manifesting section, but if certain things happen, I could see him get a good move up here this off season or this silly season potentially. Um, but I've got a Domino's train that you're gonna have to follow with me on that one. Haas, Ollie Behrman, Esteban Ocon. This feels like
Ollie,
the most obvious in the world.
my actual human child, I love him so much, and I believe he will shine like a star once again.
Ollie Behrman struggled a bit at the beginning of the year, made a couple of mistakes, ironed out a lot of that, but showed like real raw pace.
Yes.
And compared to the thing you've always said about rookies is you can't get a lot faster, you can get a lot cleaner, and I don't mean clean in like a moralizing sense, but
Yeah.
just
No, as in
ironing
like
out
you're
the
not making
mistakes.
like yeah, like
Yeah,
silly
you're not George Russell crashing out behind a safety car in 2020. You're not whatever the hell he decided to do to Valtteri Bottas and Imola. Like
yeah.
you just make less mistakes when you get older. You're better at this. I think Behrman will be great. We have I'm kind of just speedrunning this because I think there's a really interesting one next.
Who, Lawson and Lindblad? Are they
No, Aston Martin.
you think Lance Stroll is going to beat Fernando? Listen, I would love for that to happen.
I
Okay,
think
but that's
Fernando I think Fernando is gonna flop. I am calling it now. This is not one of my three manifestations. Father time has hit Fernando Alonso. He's done so.
I think he'll do
I think he'll beat Stroll, but narrowly.
I think he will well underperform the car, but because Lance is his teammate, I think that, and because Martin Brundle is a Fernando Alonso propagandist and is being paid by the Spanish royal family, that's a lie. I completely made that up. But there's no other explanation truly for how hard he rides Fernando Alonso's dick. But
So
like,
I haven't been swearing in this, but okay, if you're saying
oh,
that, then I'm allowed to swear, I
I'm not physically
guess.
capable of censoring myself. So the, but I just I think if I think he will beat Lance fairly handily because like also Lance has just been he's been bad recently. You know, like it was always a little bit of a marginal thing and it was like all right, but I feel like the last couple seasons he's just been flopping like a fit. Like the first year or two with Fernando, but like recently he's just not even like
Yeah, he's not good. He's not good. You know, but you know what? Neither is Fernando Alonso anymore. Let's go, baby.
listen, I would love for that to be the case. I truly would.
You're just holding on to this. Seb Vettel has won a championship more recently than Fernando has won a race thing.
I need
You're
it.
holding that. You're holding on to it with how much do you love your like coming around on Max Verstappen is entirely because of Monaco 2023, right? Remember that third sector he pulled in Monaco 23? He was 2 tenths down on Fernando,
Oh yeah.
and he pulled sexiest pole lap. When you've called a couple of Charles pole laps sexy,
Yeah,
that fucking Max third sector in Monaco, fucking sexy.
agree. I also think I haven't it's not that I've come around. I have always had like a I'm very neutral on Max Verstappen, like re whether I'm rooting for him. Like it's completely it depends almost 100% on it's actually an interesting bellwether for whether I like a driver or not, because if I like them, I'll probably root for them. But if I don't like them, I'll probably root for Max. Like he is like perfectly zero. I've always had I think Max is funny and he seems like a pretty like down to earth guy who just like I don't know, he just wants to sim race or whatever. I've always had my issues with some of the things he said and with the people that he associates with, but that's, you know, a larger nuanced conversation that like I just really don't feel like having on the internet, especially because we're not allowed to talk about some things that are pretty essential to that conversation. But also the like I find Max's shtick funny, but I'm also not unwilling to like I do find some of the things he does like I roll my eyes at them a little bit. You know what I mean? Like I'm definitely not a I'm not pushing Max propaganda. Like I feel like he's one of the few that like I view what they do pretty neutrally. Whereas like obviously like with Charles, like I'm gonna view it through a more positive lens, if that makes sense. It's not that I've come around on Max, it's just that he's not competing against Lewis anymore. Like obviously I'm always gonna be on Lewis's side, you know?
Can we? Can I get a take on Max being like Oscar sold his soul?
Yes.
Uh, I mean, yes, but like fundamentally, bruv, this actually just is Mark Webber's fault. Like your entire job, Mark, is to stop what happened to Piastri happening, and you failed.
Yeah.
How did you let this happen, Mark Webber? This is all Mark Webber's fault. Okay,
I think it's
fuck Mark Webber. We need to assess
here's
the
the thing,
blame
you're always gonna
where
have
it
to
belongs.
when you come into a team, especially with someone who's already established, especially with someone who came through their junior program like Lando did, you have to beat him. The problem was Oscar can't make a case for favoritism because he never, even when he was winning, it wasn't like he ever like Lando had been consistently beating him like before he pulled ahead in this season. And so it's like, well, I do think they should have truly played it neutrally and not favored Lando. It's like at the end of the day, Oscar, if you weren't stuck qualifying P5 every single time, this wouldn't be a problem. And I
And
also
also, what would they have done? What would they have done if you just didn't switch in
no,
Monza?
I agree with Max more, and I don't think it's Mark Webber's role. I think that there's nothing if you unless you're
Mark
you
Webber, Mark Webber never should. Whatever Mark Webber failed to instill in him that made him think
Well,
giving the place
that
back in
part of it, he
Monza.
should have told him. But when it comes to McLaren, he made that choice when it came, because when it comes to like being instilled in a team like Lando did, he could have, he was a Renault driver. So like they had to make the choice to defect to McLaren, which was obviously the correct choice. And so I'm like, unfortunately, there is always going to be that bias, but he was beating him with the bias. That's my thing. And that's my thing about the Monza. It's like, to keep the peace, to avoid discord, whatever. But I'm like, there's, like you said, there's short of actively sabotaging your car, which they're just not going to do. Like, they're not. And if they are, we got bigger problems than the discord that's going on right now. If like they already are like doing everything they can to make Lando win, you have nothing to lose by not doing that. So and I don't think he lost like quote unquote because of that. Again, like I think it just Lando, and I hate to give him credit, but I will say at the end of the season, he he locked in when he needed to and he delivered and he qualified where he needed to qualify. And when it counted, he was able to lock in and beat Oscar and Max in a far weaker car, but still, like that wasn't always the case the whole season, right? And like, yes, he should have won by more, but I I also think that it's like at the end, it's the Mark Webber thing, ironically. It's like at the end of the day, you can go back and forth as much as you want and spin as many conspiracy theories, but you qualified P5 and finished P5 in Abu Dhabi. Period. That's it. That's the whole story, you know?
Yeah, I agree. Racing Bulls, Liam Lawson, Arvid Lindblad. Liam Lawson sucks ass, so I'm going Lindblad. When has Liam Lawson ever been impressive to you?
You know I don't pay attention to Toro Rosso.
He
I don't
was
know.
vaguely good at holding people up in Baku, I guess.
He was like okay at the end of the year. Like he was with or in and around. He wasn't like getting like trounced by
Okay, but
us.
here's the thing. I don't think Yuki like is that good. So I don't think being like kind of better than Yuki is impressive. He
But it
sucks.
was Isaac.
And Isaac fucking beat him.
Yeah, but I'm saying he wasn't like flopping like a fish.
Yes,
But
he was.
okay, fine.
Liam Lawson sucks.
I
Arvid
think it's
Lindblad.
gonna be Lindblad too.
And also Dev will be happier if that's the outcome. So
Exactly.
we're this is a pro Dev space.
Definitely. And I also just think like I don't know. I don't think any of them.
I think the Lindblad experience is gonna be fucking chaotic, by the way. Like I think there are gonna be some high highs and some low lows, and I am excited for
But
all of it.
all that matters when you're a rookie, to be honest, are your highs. Like I judge rookies
Oh,
off their highs.
to be clear, that is the most complimentary thing I can say about him, that I think there are going to be high highs,
Right.
right? Like if I'm a Lindblad fan, he could crash 20 times in increasingly hilarious slapstick fashion. If the four races he doesn't, he's competitive and interesting, successful season, right?
Yeah. I mean,
It's the same with Antonelli, right? Like I don't really care that he was like kind of ass for like 3/4 of the season, like a bunch of the season. The highs were there. That's what you look for.
what
Whatever.
was his high? Beating George Russell twice.
Podium in Canada, podium in Vegas.
Max Verstappen would have beaten George Russell more than twice.
Yeah,
No, it's so
we'll
unbiased.
get to Kimmy. We'll get to the Kimmy Antonelli discourse in a bit. We have Williams, Alex Albon, Carlos Sainz.
Oh, Alex, duh. Just
Carlos. Unfortunately, the Alex was the second driver by the second half of the season. Once Carlos got acclimated to the team and Carlos stopped having reliability issues, unfortunately, he was a better driver from like basically the European season onwards. And Alex is great. Alex is fantastic. This is a pro Alex Albon space.
how could you manifest
Carlos Sainz is a bit better.
such?
because I want to be
Evil
right.
in
I
this
care
show.
about being right. I care about being right more than I don't have your animosity towards Carlos Sainz. Carlos Sainz is just like a ditzy himbo hot guy, you know?
Carlos Sainz is a Disney villain. He is
Carlos Sainz, that's fine.
the
He's
evil
still
trio,
hot.
the evil trio of Carloses
I
have
have
wreaked
no
havoc.
animosity to these people because I laugh when Ferrari does things. Okay?
Not funny. Some of us are living in hell, okay?
I'm just going to say, I did warn you that the Lewis Hamilton and Ferrari experience is not going to
Of
go
course
well.
I
And
knew it was
you
gonna.
told me,
No, you
you
were trying to
told
talk shit about
me
Lewis. You were saying, "Oh, Lewis sucks. Lewis is washed." Of course, I knew it was going to
zero
go badly
podiums,
because it's
zero podiums,
every.
zero podiums,
Shut up.
zero podiums.
Are you done?
One more, zero podiums. Now I'm done.
Every Ferrari experience goes badly. Lewis Hamilton didn't stage a hostile takeover of the team, and they didn't hire Adrian Newey. Those are two bringing in some random guy from Mercedes, who, by the way, his arrow has sucked for the last how long has it been? 4 years. Oh, like that's gonna fucking fix everything. No, you need to overhaul the structure of the team. You need to put in place your people. And Fred is clearly under the thumb of Big Ferrari. So, like,
So what you're saying is that dime store Hank Steinbrenner is not the solution for Ferrari.
no. There is no, the thing is, it doesn't, none of it matters except for Elkin. Like, he is clearly, and it's honestly, who even knows if it's him? Because, like, but he is clearly the problem because he's Jerry Jones. You know what I mean? He's so in.
No, he's Hank Steinbrenner.
Oh yeah, but
No, because here's the thing: Enzo Ferrari at least cared about winning. You know, they weren't always the best at it, but they cared about winning.
yes,
You know, and Hank now just wants to make $55 million in profit on the Yankees every year.
yeah. Well, that's like what he's done to how do you pronounce it? Juventus, as well,
Yeah,
according to
Juventus, but yeah.
many peeved Italians in my comments. I wouldn't know, but apparently he's doing the same thing. No, they don't. They obviously don't care, and also like. But I don't know if they don't care or they believe their own bullshit. You know what I mean? Like the
I
excuses.
don't. No. They're perfectly no. They're perfectly fine. They're perfectly fine with this being a money making exercise. We should just talk about Ferrari while we're already on here. I did the segue and then I forgot to do the actual segue. Charles or Lewis?
Charles, but I do think Lewis will do better this year.
Yeah, I think. I mean, I think he will beat Charles more than like one time.
Yeah.
Um,
We beat him more than
do
once
we
this
think?
year.
Do we think? So here's the thing. Um, I was gonna ask whether I think Lewis is gonna get on the podium, but then again, I'm not entirely positive Ferrari are getting on the podium at any point this year.
No,
So
here's what they're gonna do, but this would be the most Ferrari thing. They're going to be in like the Red Bull, like no, not Red Bull. They're gonna be in
they're going to be Mercedes 2022
yeah, like a distant third or fourth. But like
and
the leap
and get
to the
competitive at the end. Yeah,
yeah, and then be like, we're on the right track. That's the most part because if they were abjectly bad again this year, it Charles will leave. They always
well, Charles will leave, and there's a chance that they become the McLaren of this reg cycle, which is
they're the
like we're
McLaren of
nowhere.
this. Sorry.
No, I'm aware, but like at least if they're like legit a second off the pace or whatever, they'll
Yeah.
be like, okay, so we just need to like, Zach Brown, we give him a lot of shit. He deserves a lot of shit. He did look at a team that was like fifth in the constructors in the first year of a reg cycle and go, this is not good enough.
And
We're
I will say
revamping fucking everything.
to
Whereas Mercedes trundled along being like, it's fine. We're going to keep zero side pods
oh
and
my,
then we're going to ditch it.
like
Oh my
there's a lesson
God.
in there. Well, and I also think that Zach Brown, again, to his credit, much though I hate to give it to him, he brought he brought Andrea Stella in and also, but critically empowered him because you're never going to get an Andrea Stella to work for you unless you give them the ability to do their job, control over the decisions that they're making, right? And I think that he was has been during that era a lot more like he gave Andrea Stella the keys to the car as well. And not everybody would do that. And I don't think that that's Mercedes' problem. I think Mercedes' problem is that the they went in their arrow. I think their arrow has been worse than we think it is because I think their engine's so good. But I also think the engine differences just became less important. And I think
Yeah,
that
and I think the other problem is they didn't want to like fully sacrifice the season of Lewis Hamilton.
yeah,
So they like trick themselves into being like, we need to be as good as possible.
yeah,
Whereas like if they had like I think if Mercedes are bad this year to the same way they were in 22, I think they would just be like, okay, that's fine. We'll just kind of toss this year, totally scrap it, totally rebuild it properly. Whereas they were just like, we got to be as competitive as possible for Lewis. We got to be as competitive as possible for Lewis. And there became the Pittsburgh Steelers
yeah.
of
That's
F1.
a great analogy. They really did.
Just like trying to be good enough and
Yeah.
like they in trying to be good enough they sort of surrendered the ability to potentially be great because they weren't willing to give up the ghost on Lewis on Lewis's sort of post prime or whatever we want to call it. Red Bull, Max Verstappen will beat Isaac Hadjar. Do you have any other takes?
I wish Oscar. I wish, wow, can I talk? I wish Isaac the best. May the odds be ever in his favor because they've been in nobody else's so far. So,
Congratulations. Mercedes, George Russell, Kimi Antonelli. It's going to be George Russell. Do we think Kimi is going to beat George more than like twice?
nope.
Um,
Unfortunately, I have become a Kimi Antonelli hater through no fault of his own. Like it's really has nothing to do with him, but um he irritates me deep. Well, number
no,
one,
the discourse around him. You have the relationship to Kimi Antonelli that I have to Matt Stafford, which is they have done nothing wrong,
he
but
seems like a nice kid.
the discourse around them have become so unhinged from reality
Right.
that we simply look at these people and go, are we looking at the same human? I saw people be like Matt Stafford top five of all time conversations this weekend. And I'm like, he's a good quarterback. He's a fine, he's in the better of the one Super Bowl quarterbacks. It's just so funny. But it's just like Stafford has done nothing wrong.
No, he's good. Like, I'm not saying he's not good, but
Right. But like unfortunately the discourse around him has become insufferable. So I am now forced
maybe
to
if you
be
only know
oppositional
10
to him on
quarterbacks.
the internet.
Yeah. No,
Like that's the problem. Like you have nothing against Kimmy, but it's just like when you're talking about firing George Russell, who is 3/10 a lap faster than him.
I
What are we doing?
I genuinely felt like I had like hit my head and woken up in an alternate dimension and like that I was
You had to have an opinion about George Russell. You hate having opinions about George
I've
Russell.
never talked to I will say that the biggest change I underwent this year is becoming like a little bit of an undercover George Russell stan. Him
No,
right.
that's just having to deal with me on live
No,
every
I
week.
actually think what really made me fond of him was when Max Verstappen had threw a little bit of a hissy fit in a press conference about him. And not 6 hours later, that man published what can only be described as an essay on how much he fucking hated Max Verstappen. And that's just the funniest thing that anyone's ever done. Like, it's so unhinged. That whole saga was so unhinged from both of them and made me like both of them so much more because I was like, this is like absolutely wild behavior, but it's also so funny because they're both deadly serious and they're both
So it came
somehow in
out.
the wrong.
So Ted Kravitz like quote unquote like acknowledged that at Abu Dhabi Media Day. So the Max like crashing out about George was at Qatar 24,
Yeah.
and George's response was at Abu Dhabi.
Yeah.
And so like this was apparently surprising to people who are dumbasses, I guess is the polite way of putting it. Um, that George Russell like told basically asked Ted Kravitz to ask him about the Max thing so
Yeah.
that he could just
Duh.
give his soliloquies. And
Duh.
like this was apparently news to people, okay? That
You thought
sometimes
that
when
he
somebody
came up with that off the top of his head? It sounded like he was an actor on a stage in the West End.
no, I the
That's
video
why
of
it's
you
funny.
were you in Lake Como?
Yes, my whenever anything does not go his way, he lashes out with unnecessary anger and borderline violence. It's my favorite thing to say in the whole world. Sometimes I'll be sitting here by myself in my apartment and just say that out loud. Like he the idea of George Russell, like he sat in front of his mirror and was like, whenever anything. Like he was practicing that. The best.
I love George. He's the great. He's the goat. I love him so
But
much.
I felt
He's
like I was in crazy land that at this point in time when this discourse was occurring about which Mercedes driver they were going to fire for Max, and people were like, but the potential, he hasn't beat George Russell one time. Name one time in the history of Formula One where a driver who has never beaten or who lost to his teammate by more than 25 points, so greater than 1 point different one race differential, has been fired and the other one kept. Like there's that just doesn't happen.
oh, and also like George had just won the Canadian Grand Prix.
Right.
Like
Yeah.
like weeks before all of this discourse started to pop
Well,
off.
and also like it kind of set up for me. I will say I made a video about this kind of shitting on Kimmy and a lot of people were like it's not fair to compare him to the other rookies because like they had like fucking Esteban and like Liam Lawson as teammates versus like George Russell and I was like okay, that is actually kind of a valid point. So
Okay, it's kind of a valid point, except like when you've done this for long enough,
it's
like
because
judging rookies is not about like direct. It's not a science, it's an art. It's a feel thing. And that's why people don't like it because it's like a soft science. It's not intangible. It's
yeah,
not like or it's not like tangible things. It's that intangible feeling of like, do I think this guy has it? Right. And you know, you're a Tom Brady fan and or you know, or a Pats fan. So like, yeah, Tom Brady
oh,
was like a 6th round pick, but like you knew right away that
yeah.
Brady had it. And you could tell pretty quickly that Mac Jones,
No,
sorry, Mac.
Drake May. I do that all the time too. They're the same man.
No,
But
no, no. I mean Mac Jones. No, I mean Mac Jones.
oh,
Mac
that
Jones
wasn't
did
it.
not have it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can tell. You can tell with these guys. And like the thing about Kimmy was like, yeah, he had like a sprint pole in Miami, but like, come on.
He had a
George was
solid,
the guy.
yeah, he had a solid season, but unfortunately, here's the thing. It's not that he could still have a long career as like a very good F1 driver. However, and everyone's like, Total Wolf set him up, Total Wolf set him up. And I'm like, well, to be honest, like this is kind of what they all want to be. And what we're really talking about is like, is he going to be that guy? And when we're talking about he Total Wolf was like, he is the next Max Verstappen. We had to get rid of Lewis because we needed to bring this 12-year-old in. Like he was putting him on par with Lewis Hamilton and Max Verstappen. Not both of whom, not coincident. Sorry, you can definitely hear my radiator in the background. Hang on 1 second. Just pause. Okay, sorry. Hopefully the radiator is less annoying now. But what I was saying is like Lewis Hamilton and Max both came in and like certainly beat their teammates. You know what I mean? Although with Lewis, it was a little bit closer to be fair. But
Okay, but in fairness, Lewis Hamilton was dropped into a
a
what
world
should have
championship
been
fight.
yeah, what should have been a constructors championship winning car
Right.
and facing a 2-time defending champion. Like, I love George Russell.
But
George
yeah.
Russell is not as difficult a an opposition as 2007 Fernando Alonso.
Yeah, he's also not like a murderous psychopath. So, that probably helped a little bit. But
Yeah, no. Well, and they weren't. Well, I think George could be one of those if he was actually in a competitive car.
that's true. No, George does give major I hunt people for sport vibes. But
We need to. I think we need to move on because we'll talk about Mercedes in a bit. McLaren. I'm choosing to believe in Oscar. I have no reason to think this. That man melted like a puddle,
like a popsicle.
like a popsicle.
No,
What a horrific performance. However, I'm choosing to believe simply because Lando Norris fuck off.
yeah, I gotta pick Lando, unfortunately. There's just no way. I
You want to talk about manifestation and then you want to pick Lando Norris, CJ.
Fine. I'll pick Oscar. Listen, I said it before, I'll say it again. People are who they are. And I know it's only Ross.
Lando Norris is also still a flopper. Okay, it's just that he managed to somehow get out flopped.
It's because Lando Norris can put in a quali lap. Like not like Max or Charles can, but he can put in like a quali lap. You know what I mean? Um
Can we just put some respect on Drew Russell's name, who is
oh
in
yeah.
that
No, you're
conversation
right.
of elite quality lappers, please.
I would also put him in there.
The
They
funny thing is that like people get like too overhyped with like the George Mr. Saturday thing. It's like I still think I'd take Charles over one lap. Like if my life depended on it, I mean, the
and
real answer is
but
that
at
it
the
depends on the
beginning,
track, but like,
I will say at the beginning of this season, I was like, maybe it will be a more Lewis-like scenario where, although obviously Lewis is a tremendous qualifier, you know what I mean? He's very good in general. But I would say, in terms of if we were weighing our strengths, like their strengths in terms of like wheel to wheel racing versus qualifying, Lewis's strength has always very much been wheel to wheel racing. Whereas I feel like Seb was a little bit more balanced, but then like there are other like a Nico or a I'm trying to think who else, like a Prost or but even now there's a bunch of like Charles who are like so quick at qualifying. But the unfortunately, like you at least got to be P2 when your car's half a second a lap faster than like everybody. Not half a second.
well, the other thing we don't know the answer to with Ferrari and Charles and Mercedes and George is like how much of the sort of like quality brilliance race pace madness or at least relative madness was like the Ferrari was
No,
set up to be quick on a Saturday.
Charles is an amazing wheel to a racer. People just forget because
Yeah.
he's literally been in lift and coast handcuffs for 2 years. No, no
But
joke.
also more importantly, like the Ferrari, even in 22, when they were, allegedly the quickest, like, and in 23, those cars were set up for single lap pace.
Yeah.
And
And
like,
they had
and the,
this tire issue has been an issue. The brake thing, whatever, has
yeah.
overheating has been an issue the whole time. Like it has
and
always
and
been
and
a
with
problem.
Mercedes, like the last couple of years when they've been quote unquote quicker, right? Like dirty air was back. Like, is it that George can't? Like, is it that George isn't as good a race pace driver, or is it that Mercedes built cars that whose goal was to on the weekends they were quick get pole position and then you know
I don't
like
think
just
I don't think race
dirty air their way to a win.
I don't think race pace. I think wheel to wheel. I think wheel to wheel.
Yeah, all these guys are good wheel to wheel though. That's the thing. Like
Yeah, but
George, Max, Charles, like when they want to be good wheel to wheel, they're good.
I will say Lewis and more recently Max. He's learned the trick. Are absolute, but Lewis specifically. Michael's like this a lot too, but he is again a little. I wouldn't even say as much. Lewis is so good at being able to push you up right up until that line where it's a penalty. You know what I mean? Like about driving within the rules, like so aggressively within the rules that it makes people like not even want to try to pass him. And
And knowing like to find ways and places to overtake that are not just a
traditional,
DRS pass, right?
yes,
Like that's the thing about Charlotte. It's the thing about Oscar even. They're much more willing to try and pass
yeah,
in like unconventional places, whereas like that's the thing about Lando that can be very annoying. It's like you're going at Max Verstappen and
yeah.
you are simply trying the exact same move on the exact same straight that you've tried 7 times.
And I will say, I think that where I think Charles is weaker and where Max, even though he's getting there, is still a little bit weaker than Lewis, is they will occasionally just go way over the line and do something absolutely rogue. Which, to be fair, Lewis also did a lot more than when he was younger. I think that that's just like purely a matter of reps. You know what I mean? Um,
Barcelona, do 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 do. Barcelona. What do we think about this engine stuff? Like, do we buy this like, ooh, Mercedes and Red Bull have found a way to like cheat the rules? Like, are we buying this or
I
I
mean,
mean, just doesn't seem great for Ferrari, coupled with the rumors that at least one front running team isn't going to be ready for all of Barcelona tests.
is
Like, really
Ferrari
feels like Ferrari's in the
You know what's
trenches.
crazy is I read that headline and it didn't even occur to me that it could be Ferrari. They're
Your
not.
grandfather, Ferrari's grandfathered into being a quote unquote front runner, unfortunately for you.
I mean, I don't know if I believe. Here's the thing. Red Bull, we like hadn't heard
Look, it's
anything.
not, it's not, look, I feel pretty confident it's not Mercedes
Yeah.
and Red Bull. We're recording this on the 15th. The Red Bull launch happened today,
Yeah.
and I haven't seen, like, it seems like the
But
Red Bull
that's
people
not
are
the
pretty
car. They just slept
no,
a
no,
little.
no. But the Red Bull sort of like the noises from the people who are at the Red Bull event are like, they feel pretty good. So I don't think.
No, of course it's Ferrari. Who else would it be? Who else would be that much of a fucking shit show?
Well, apparently Aston are also really behind.
Okay.
Um, so that's really fun. I
I
think
said I think it's
Newey. So the rumors, aka things I have seen on Twitter, if this is what we're going by, which is all we have to
which
go
is
by
all we
until
have.
we
It
get
is
to
what we're going
Bahrain.
by.
Um, I think I think Aston has been much more of a shit show than people have thought or known. And I think Newey has sort of like had to be like, oh boy,
Well, yeah,
this is not it, bruv.
because he's not just building a new car. He's overhauling an entire technical department after having worked in the same one for 20 years. Like that's going to take more than 6 months, which is how long he's been there.
Right. And I mean he's now technically team principal. I think this team principal. I don't think I've shared my Adrian Newey conspiracy theory.
Oh,
I think this is just the juice evaluation, and I think the Saudis are gonna come in for Aston Martin like this season.
all right. I mean,
This is my great conspiracy. Lawrence wants out. He needs to cash it now before the Saudis decide they don't want to buy this, and people realize that these valuations are like kind of slightly insane.
listen, I said when all those comedians got in trouble for going to that comedy festival in Saudi Arabia, I said, I stand with you, Saudi Arabia, for the low, low price of $10 million. I would say that women
So
don't
the
deserve.
260,000 or whatever that people were
That's
going for.
crazy because I wouldn't even sell out for that and I'm poor compared to these people. Like what? Like that's when I found out it was 300 grand, I was like that's actually pathetic. It's giving Eric Adams doing corruption for a $1,400 plane ticket to Paris. Like have a little self-worth, you
Oh,
know what I mean?
speaking. Okay, can we take a brief 45-second tangent on Eric Adams?
Yes.
I need to get a takeoff.
Hell
If
yeah.
you got rug pulled on the Eric Adams fake New York City cryptocurrency,
A victimless crime, truly. I couldn't, I've
if
never
you
cared about anything less. It's the same people who got scammed by Logan Paul. I'm like, no offense, but if you get scammed by Logan Paul, like, what am I supposed to do about that?
if you can figure out that the cryptocurrency to stop anti-Semitism was not gonna be
Is he
was not gonna
Jewish?
be no.
Okay. Sure.
If
Why
you
not?
could figure out that this was not going to be an up and up,
Okay,
uh,
guys, everyone, I'm starting a cryptocurrency to end anti-Semitism. If everyone Venmos me $100,
like,
oh
I'm sorry, I just
no, I don't give a shit at
Darwinism. It's
all.
financial Darwinism, okay? Like,
Also, all
if
of like,
you this and the Hawk Tuah girl, if you couldn't figure out that those two cryptos were scams,
oh, I
you
don't think
simply do not deserve the protection of the state anymore.
I listen. I have always said I don't think that cryptocurrencies fall under those regulations, or nor should they, because your whole pitch, these vested assholes, are is like, oh, it's like we want like money without regulations. It's like libertarian banks. Like never once have I looked at Bank of America, at fucking Chase, and been like, you know what would be great if they could do whatever they wanted with zero oversight. So, what the crypto people want is for the customers to have the consumer protection that people operating in the US dollar have, but then to not have any of the regulations that come with that. But then also, on top of that, you want to be able
To
to
pay no taxes on your profits.
right. And so I'm like, no, 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 no. If you're doing sketch, you don't get consumer financial protections. Banks have to play by the rules, right? So like you like no, like if you get scammed from crypto, like again, that's your own fault for buying into like Rand Paul gold, basically. Like I don't have
And
any sympathy
again,
for those people.
financial Darwinism. Okay, like if you are stupid enough to operate this far outside the law, you no longer get the protection of it.
And again, it's not like they're pretending that the whole pitch is that like there's no laws with this money. So then when you get fucked over, you're like, that's illegal. Like their
So
whole
have you
pitch
paid
was no
attention?
laws.
Have you paid attention to all of this like Kalshi poly market nonsense?
I have
People
none of those
like
words mean anything to me.
these like prediction markets that are now allowing like insiders to dump like $150,000 on Trump to bomb Iran because like just lol.
What the fuck?
Oh my god. Oh, did you not see the? Did I not send you the Carolyn Levitt thing?
Wait, Carolyn Levitt is you can gamble on if Trump's gonna bomb Iran?
Yes, but more than that, you can gamble on how long Carolyn Levitt's press conferences are going to be. And she cut off a press conference that the
I
traders
I
on
like that.
whatever the fuck
Okay. If I were her,
so people were saying it was a 98% chance on whichever Kalshi or Poly market that her press conference is going to go over 65 minutes, and she cut that shit off at 64:45.
if I were
Insider trading.
yeah, you
They're
should
not
be
even being
allowed.
blatant about how funny this shit is.
It's okay, but it's not insider trading because again, insider trading is about serious things. The United States financial system. You're betting
So
on if again, these things are based in the Cayman like you
there
what
was
are we doing?
there was a big controversy about whether or not what Trump did in Venezuela qualifies as an invasion for the purposes of
That's actually
a poly market, for the purpose of a poly market. And I literally, someone was like, "Would you ever put your money in here?" And I'm like, "Absolutely the fuck not. I have no faith in these people to pay me my money if I'm right." And then that came out like 2 hours later, and I have never felt more vindicated about
but I
anything in my
actually don't
life.
think it counts as an invasion. It's just a snatching, a casual snatching.
But this is the point, is that like no shit,
Well,
they're just gonna interpret it
you're
in the
betting
way
on
that
something that
makes them the most money.
doesn't have a quantitative definition.
Yeah, it's almost like this shit is nonsense.
Yeah. Also, how can you bet on this? I that should be
Well, so do you want to know why this is quote unquote legal?
why. Well, you could
They
just
put
Google
done
it, the Cayman Islands. But who?
no, because they put Don Jr. on the board of at least one or both of Kalshi and Polymarket, and then suddenly the FTC, FCC, I don't remember, something decided that actually prediction markets are not gambling and therefore they're legal in all 50 states.
Okay, great. Things are going good over here. It's going well, I would say.
Let's
We
do
got we're
manifestations.
I was
We
gonna
got to get this
I
back
was
on
gonna say
track,
something
okay?
really fucked up and I decided not to. Um about
Manifestations. You go first. Top thing you want to see this season. Charles Leclerc to leave Ferrari. That breaking news, I assume, is your number one.
no, because I don't
Really?
I have completely I don't know. Like, I mean, yes, but I I just don't, yeah. I mean, maybe, but like that is probably should be one, but I have to like completely detach myself from this situation. Also, like the Charles fans are so crazy about it that I'm like, he needs to make his own decision and live his own life. Obviously, I want him to leave, but like in terms of, I mean, no, because what I really want is for Ferrari to like my number one thing would be Charles wins a world championship with Ferrari this year. But like I
Okay, okay,
listen,
let's live in reality.
right, we're manifesting here. We're not, this isn't we're not miracle workers. But I have nothing Ferrari related because like I'm genuinely just like it is what it is with Charles. Like
Honestly, my fourth manifestation, so it didn't make the list. So my honorable mention is a non-insane Lewis discourse this year. It will never
keep
happen.
dreaming.
Your first manifestation.
My first manifestation, Mercedes fastest team. Well, really, I wrote Mercedes gets their shit together. But that's what I mean by that. Because if they don't do it this year, I fear like Toto Wolff is gonna be facing some tougher questions, in my personal opinion.
Yeah, those tougher questions should have already started. I guess I'm just gonna do mine. George Russell, WDC. We
Yeah,
need
I
it.
mean, well, by Mercedes fastest car, that will obviously lead to a George Russell WDC.
You're not believing in Twink Antonelli.
Okay, it's a little bit horrible, but part of the reason I want to this to happen is because I believe that George Russell will crush him and it will be satisfying to myself deeply personally because of all the people that were like George Russell should obviously George Russell would be the one to get fired. And I my other and again like
How do you have more personal animosity towards the Kimi Antonelli fans than I do as the
because
George Russell fan of this group?
well, and it's like I also am a little bit like the whole like we needed him because he's the next Lewis, the next Max. Like if I was George Russell, I'd be pissed. I also think it's wildly offensive to Lewis. I also and also like the implication that like he would have fired Lewis for Max when like obviously Nico would have been the one fired. It was just like a little bit insulting in my opinion, toward Lewis by Toto. And obviously it was the most like guy whose wife just left him energy of all time. You know what I mean? Like that was clearly where this was coming from. But also and again, this is like it is unfair because it has nothing to do with Kimmy. Like he has no like he absolutely has the right and like honestly, I think it was good of him to speak up about like getting hate and everything. It's also funny though because ironically by doing that he directed hate at GP. So it's like the people who are like they shouldn't be allowed because Kimmy didn't say anything like about GP or whatever, but it was like then that became like for some reason in this case only because normally everybody like Franco Colapinto being like people have to watch what they say. You literally go back to two races before that in Brazil. He was like Lance Stroll's a fucking idiot and doesn't belong on the grid. I'm like, "Oh, okay, Franco, you first." But the fact that for some reason then it became none of the drivers or anyone on team radio should ever be allowed to say anything negative about any of the other drivers or the stewards or whatever. They played completely into MBS's hands. This is what he's been trying to do this whole time. It's dumb. Censorship is a sledgehammer, not a scalpel. And correlating people expressing like frustration over literally the things that they're experiencing and also shit that by the way we're all seeing on our TV anyway. It's not like if they weren't like, "Oh, this fucking sucks." we wouldn't like know that that had happened. You know what I mean?
Lewis Hamilton once put out a statement, or Team LH once put out a statement that was reposted by Lewis Hamilton, telling his fans to stop being sexist pieces of shit to Hannah Schmitz, and he got cyberbullied into deleting the statement. That uh,
They're
the
correlated.
idea that crazy people on the internet would have had no problem would have never done anything to poor Kimmy if not for GP making some comment on the radio is both
Yes. And it,
nonsensical
yeah.
and completely ahistorical to the existence of both Formula One social media history, but also literally all fandom experience.
And what bothers me is that the most is that this is something that like it's time and time and time and time again we see it. The issue of online abuse and harassment, and even honestly in like real life abuse and harassment, is an issue that people love to weaponize to achieve their own aims. In this case, censorship. And everybody, and it's, the people, it's the everybody should hold hands and like sing songs and never root against anybody crowd. So, in order to push that agenda, they're weaponizing this very real issue, which has happened time and time and time and time again with this very serious and very important issue. And it negatively impacts society as a whole because, in my opinion, not only does it distract from like the actual like deep thinking and like solutions that need to be implemented to fix this, but in my opinion, it what it does is it takes blame off of the bad actors who are very bad actors and should be gone after and punished. And like we need to find a way to get to those people. It takes the blame complete and agency completely off of them and puts it onto GP or whoever or whatever. It's incredibly damaging to the very serious cause that they're like portending that they are so heartbroken by. It's so disingenuous and it's such bullshit that
And
like
also, frankly, Kimmy Antonelli is probably fine, and the legion of poor defenseless women who have been the victims of far worse internet hate, might be the people that we should care about.
well, it's also interesting who
Maybe
gets the
not,
yeah, who gets the sympathy. But if that doesn't
maybe not the millionaire 9-year old who will be fine.
but that doesn't make what those people are doing to him right. But to act like every single driver doesn't get that on every single thing they post is, regardless of what happened on track, is crazy. To act like that doesn't happen every single time a similar situation occurs. And by a similar situation, I mean a situation where a driver's mistake unrelated to the main plot line has a detrimental impact on someone fighting for a championship, and then those fans freak out about it. That has happened time and time again. And every single time there's a wave of hate against that person, regardless of the reaction of the other person, including in 2021, where Lewis Hamilton was like, guys, stop being mean to Nicholas Latifi. Like, this isn't his fault. It made no difference. And because this is a real problem and these like group of bad actors exist everywhere, but instead of dealing with those people, the talking points are somehow like, oh, it's literally like, are like, oh, like these other random people have to change their behavior. It's just a complete lack of accountability to the individual because those are real human people that are harming others, right? And like you're giving them a pass. That's what they're doing by being like, it's
Yep.
GP's fault.
Can
And
I give
it's
my
such a
second
dumb
manifest?
opinion because they all are so nasty to each other all the time, which is, I love the drama. I love it. But it's like, you've never had this take
You
before or since.
No, of course not. Can I give my second manifestation that you're gonna
Yes.
love? Alex Albon wins Williams' first race since 2012, and George Russell is on the podium to celebrate with him.
Oh,
So
yes.
the dream would be Alex, George, Max, or Alex, Max, George. So you have Alex's former teammate who sort of was slightly the downfall of the sort of early part of his career, you know, but who, never said a bad word about Alex, never put him down, never used that as an opportunity to be a dick to him. And then obviously George Russell, who is beloved, bestie is, you know, I think that is a podium that Alex deserves, and I think that he deserves a race win. I would love James Wells to get a race win. I would love for him to be at the to be the one to bring an iconic brand in F1 back to the front. And I think, given sort of George's relationship to Williams and his relationship to Alex and him helping to get Alex that seat, like I totally think that would be,
That is a beautiful
rookie podiums.
manifestation.
Rookie podiums tend to be the sort of like universally great moments that everyone in the F1 community
Yeah.
can really get behind. I think Charles winning in
Um,
Belgium in
yeah.
2019, Charles winning Monaco for the first time,
Yeah.
George getting his first race win in Brazil. Like those were like good moments that everybody could feel good about, right? Like
Yeah, I feel like Pierre podium, Monza podium, win, Dan Urick
yeah,
Monza.
yeah, right. Like there are a handful that you just look at and go that'll be a good day. You
Yeah.
know, even George dragging that Williams, it was like a fake, race in 21, but like even George pulling that Williams to the front row in Spa
Yeah.
in 2021, like there are those moments that I think an Alex Albon win is the kind of thing that we
Oh,
as a
I need
community
it. I need it.
would really want to see.
I need it so bad. No, I'm with you. Okay, my second manifestation is Lance Stroll wins a race and Fernando doesn't.
Can we make it more fun than that? Lance Stroll wins the Spanish Grand Prix.
Sure. That'd be fun.
That
I
would piss so many Spanish people off. It would be so good.
I also watching Fernando like have to be normal about it because this is his boss's kid and he can't like go full Fernando would be iconic. Also, I want Aston to make I can't have Fernando. Mostly I need Fernando Alonso not to win a race, but like if Lance won one and he didn't, because I also think they're gonna replace one of them at the end of this year probably. So if they're good,
I think they're both gone. I
that
think
is
they're
a real
I think they're both gone.
that's a real possibility for sure. Um
Well, Fernando keeps saying this is his final, like that he's that this was his final contract, and
Fernando Alonso
again,
is a notorious.
given that I think Saudi Arabia is about to own and control Aston Martin, I do not think that they are going to let this Lance Stroll nonsense keep going.
Well, yeah, the second the team is sold, he's out. But yeah, we'll see. But yeah, that is my hope and my dream. Truly.
Um, It's funny. I was giving him shit earlier, but I do think in my core, my third manifestation is one more race win for Lewis Hamilton. I think this is his final season. I don't even,
Stop! It
I don't
can't
even, I
be.
don't even, I don't even say that with any like joy in my heart. I don't think this is going to be a good year for Ferrari. Unfortunately,
Yeah.
I don't
No,
want
he's getting the
Lewis to go.
for
I don't want Lewis to go out this way. I don't.
I
Give
know. And
me
it's for like
give me one final throwback moment. Silverstone, Coda, Brazil. Oh my god,
and
imagine
then
if
he
Lewis
and
won
Nico
his.
Rosberg make out on the boat.
But
I'm
like
kidding.
give me like a one last Lewis masterclass at a
Oh,
Coda,
I would love it.
at a Brazil.
Canada, Canada. Like
Canada maybe, yeah, no, like somewhere.
Brazil would be a good one. It has to be an iconic track.
It has to be an iconic track and an iconic Lewis track, right? Like
Yeah, he's got a lot of them.
no, for sure. But like, just give me like I don't want like I'd love it. Like I'll take whatever Lewis win we can get, but like I don't want it to be like a Vegas or like a Miami.
No,
You know,
no. They don't
give me
deserve
like a
a Lewis win.
yeah, give me like a throwback. Lewis somehow finds it within him. Like front row start, jumps him at the first go. Calls his own strategy. Brazil win.
Monaco could be
You
great because
know,
I think he's tied with everyone for the most wins at Monaco, so it could put him.
but the sneaky thing is that well, one, if we're predicting a Ferrari win at Monaco, I simply do not want it to be Lewis Hamilton.
Yeah, me either.
But two,
I'd still be happy though. Like I would.
Lewis is like it's funny to be like Lewis has been bad at Monaco. It's again bad compared to
It's
his
so
incredible
exactly like
Sterling
it's
record.
so relative to like for anyone else
Everybody would get, every driver who's ever driven an F1 would give their left nutsack to be,
as good as
to have
Lewis at Monaco.
Lewis's.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like,
But for him, yeah, compared to like a
yeah,
Silverstone or a Canada, like it's not the same.
yeah, it's just never clicked for him in the same way. And I just want that like elite Ferrari. Like Schumi got his podium when he came back, and he got the pole lap in Monaco 2012. Seb obviously got a podium in, I think it was Baku 21, and then of course he has Hungary 21, which I still count as a podium. I want these like elite drivers to get their like last great moment in the sun
Yeah,
in
no, I
their
agree.
sort of like, when Fernando came back, he got that podium in Qatar 21 when he had that run in Aston in 23. Like,
Yeah.
I like when these guys in their last acts have those moments,
Yeah, no, for sure. I agree.
and so I want to lose one. I want it, and I want it at a good track. I want it somewhere important. Barcelona would be like spiritually fulfilling.
Yeah.
Hungary.
Yeah. No,
I
I
want
like
one more Lewis win.
behind you completely. Okay, my last manifestation is a
Logan
Mercedes.
Sargent back on the grid.
No, a Mercedes and deprive the women of U Miami his boat to go on. I don't think so. Um, the no, I want a Mercedes Williams title fight, and but specifically James Vowles and Toto Wolff are like as dramatic as humanly possible about it, and have like a weird. It's almost like how in 2021 like Lewis and Max like were not the drama. The drama was Toto and Horner. But I wanted that, but like it really is a great narrative when you think about it. Like if there is a Merc Williams title fight, like it is like the student and the master, so to speak, but also like they have a weird relationship. So like I think that neither of them would be normal about it. And I want several instances of like, like the blurry, far away photos we get of like them having lunch in the paddock, but like both people are just like clearly in distress. I want grainy photos. I want secret meetings. I want Sky Sports crash outs. That's what I want.
I mean, I want it all. It's gonna be great. I want Williams back at the front. I want you crashing out about the evil trio of Carlos's. I want Carlos Sainz on some level. There's a part of me that wants Carlos Sainz to be so good that you have to become a dedicated George Russell stan.
I think I'm already gonna have to this year because Ferrari's gonna probably suck again.
And McLaren does have a Mercedes engine, so
Yeah. And I like George better than
I just feel
Max.
like McLaren. Congratulations to you on your victories, Lando Norris. You are the Jensen Button of this generation. You are, this generation's worst one-time champion.
I I just George is probably my second favorite of this generation.
Over Max?
Yeah.
Interesting. I
George Russell's dad
I
has run over
mean,
0 women with cars and then sat down and done glowing interviews with his son about what a great guy he is. You know what I mean? It's just that if my dad ran over my
Max
mom with a
Verstappen
car,
Max Verstappen being like, I only respect high character people. And it's like the four horsemen of your life are Jos Verstappen, Helmut
great.
Marko, Nelson Piquet, and Christian Horner. Go fuck yourself.
And listen, I like Max. I don't think Max is like an evil person. However, yes, his dad's actions have nothing, that's not him. It's his dad. You can't control who you're related to. And to be honest with you, his relationship with his dad is really none of my business. However, when you sit down and do multiple glowing 12,000 word ESPN roundtables and Ziggo Sport 2 hour long interviews where you explicitly endorse your dad's character, you have now made it my business. You know what I mean? Like there is
And
a
also, when you say you only associate with high character people to attempt to character assassinate George Russell,
Right. And so,
I am simply not gonna let you do that when
yeah.
again the four horsemen of your life
Yeah.
are
And it's like,
Nelson
listen,
Piquet, Christian Horner, Helmut Marko, and Jos
yeah.
Verstappen.
And it's like, listen, obviously none of them are perfect. Like they all have their things. Like you can what about is a me about this in a million different ways, like for sure, for sure.
When the best person of the four people I just named is Christian fucking Horner.
Right. But like it's also like that situation with Max is like a little bit more complicated, but but like when, these are people that are physically causing harm to other people, which is, in my opinion, different than like having a bad take. Like Nelson Piquet, like actually going on fucking Portuguese commentary and like calling Lewis Hamilton a slur multiple times and like being super homophobic to him, like it's just a different and like Jasper Verstappen like fucking beating people to within an inch of their life at a karting track and in a Dutch nightclub and like his fucking own dad. Although I think you should be allowed to fight your dad, but the it's just like specifically Nelson Piquet, but also like more so Yas. It's like that is like a violent and dangerous man, and you are participating in giving him access to do more harm to other people, in my opinion. And like again, I do this isn't me being like, oh, like I think Max is a bad person for this because it is I acknowledge an incredibly complicated situation and like it is your dad and I understand that like there are a lot of reasons why Max probably doesn't see that situation very clearly. But at the end of the day, I like Max.
Don't get on a high horse when you're in a glass house.
And also, and like, don't get me wrong, like, I have my criticisms of George, I have my criticisms of Charles, I even have my criticisms of Lewis, you know what I mean? Even though he's by far like the least objectionable one of them.
You
But
think the Palantir tweets are not great?
yeah, it's not my favorite thing he's ever done. But
What is your favorite thing Lewis Hamilton's ever done?
probably post pictures of his dick on Snapchat. Listen,
Oh my god.
you have to know, I was 15. Okay. I'll never be 15 again. I'll never.
You'll never get to see that dick for the first time.
Lewis Hamilton changed my life, okay? But him and Keira Knightley in Pride and Prejudice. But so, Max to me will always like, and again, maybe I'll give you a pass on your dad, but the PK association to me is, and guess what? When Checo's dad said something racist about Lewis, he came out and was like, I don't agree with that. I think it's fucked up. I've told him it privately, but like, I'm not going to sit here and talk to you about my dad. Like, our relationship is our business. Handled it perfectly. You know what I mean? And that's his actual dad.
Honestly, that answer is almost enough to get me to change my prediction to Checo over Valtteri. Not quite, but close.
Yeah.
Checo, good guy. Kind of got screwed by Adrian Newey's making a fairly big mistake with the concept that we all have to pretend he didn't make because Adrian Newey is undefeated.
Okay. But you don't get to blame everything that followed on him because maybe he could have fixed it. You know what I mean? Like he left at
True.
a critical juncture. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but it is just very notable that basically Nico Rosberg has never done anything wrong.
Of course. Never once.
And the race where he was like, so Checo just randomly failing to get a Q1, did something happen with the car? That ends up being the race that like was the upgrades package
Yeah.
that completely fucked the concept of the car and destroyed the last 2.5 years of Red Bull. Again, Nico Rosberg never done anything wrong.
He's so vindicated on that, but like no one will ever care because it's just like, ugh, whatever. That was my honorable mention was the reason I put
Nico
it
Rosberg vindication.
this would be my number one manifestation, but it is like I don't have like a specific, but like Nico Rosberg Renaissance continues. You know what I mean? Like more Nico commentary. My wish for
Give Nico a good track.
my wish for him is that they stop as much, listen, as tremendous content, much though I love it. I really need them to stop like pushing him so hard about Lewis at like every possible turn and illusion in situations where because it just gives so much fodder to the people who are like, oh, he loves to talk about Lewis. All he does is talk about Lewis. And it's like, I don't know how you can
They
watch that
can he like
segment.
can he just like come to Canada or something, like not a track with like an iconic Mercedes moment, making him do Barcelona 2 of the last 3 years.
And it's like the live
Just stop, man.
that's like not even what bothers me as much. Well, and it's like,
Well,
yeah,
no, but when you put him in Barcelona, he's gonna make Barcelona 2016 comments.
and no, and they're gonna do all it's the thing is, it's not even like him really like it's I think they think that Nico Rosberg is like the Sky Sports producer, or like maybe just don't understand how TV works. Because like Sky will do a whole segment with like Nico and whoever about like whatever Barcelona 2016, and everyone's like, "Oh my God, let it go." And I'm like, "Do you think he's deciding the segments that he does? Like that's not how being TV talent works." But also, to me, I just feel like the what was the rain delay where he shared the picture of him and Lewis on the ATV spa maybe?
Oh, Spa, that was great. I went and got breakfast after Nico
He
was on. That was great.
he shined so much during that period and on the grid walk and the pre-race coverage when he was like, "Oh, now you have nothing to say" to Jos Verstappen. Like that was so iconic, and I feel like how good he is at commentary gets overshadowed because like whenever there's like like a bro Sadie's moment, for lack of a better way of putting, you know what I mean? Whenever that like comes up, it just that is all anyone talks about, which is like again understandable, but the I think that it's overshadowing like how great Nico Rosberg truly is at commentary. And I also think that he people are just never are the like it just pokes the Lewis fans more and more to be like, oh, I hate him, I hate him, I hate him. He all he does talk about Lewis. When it's like obviously anyone watching that segment in good faith could tell that Nico Rosberg was like wildly uncomfortable. And just because he recovers and like is an active participant and like nails the segment doesn't mean that he was happy about the situation. You know what I mean? But I also think that like if he could
Expecting the internet to act in good faith is your big mistake.
well, yes, but that's why I'm like, I just need them to stop like tormenting him about Lewis. And
Yeah,
obviously,
give
like,
him give him give him better situations where it's again like stop sending him to Barcelona.
yeah. But it's
Don't
even
send him to
like the
like a
way,
Silverstone.
and it's not even, but it's like the way that it's the way that he was like, oh, like, do you think Toto misses Horner or whatever? And he's like, I don't know. Did you miss Crawford? He's like, I don't know. Did you miss Lewis? It's like, they were talking about he was trying to like make fun of Toto, which is funny. Like talk about Toto and Horner. You don't need to bring like they bring everything back to Lewis. And even when they they're the segment where they're asking like they're like, "Oh, like do you think Charles is going to have a hard time being Lewis's teammate?" Which is such a trick question, right? Because if you say yes, it's like, "Oh, so like Lewis is so awful, you don't even want to be around him." But then if you say no, it's like, "Oh, so he sucks, he's going to be easy to beat." Like he was like, "Listen, obviously like going up against a driver as talented as Lewis is like never easy, but like I think they'll get along. Like Charles seems like a nice guy, like whatever." And he's like always gotten along with his teammates. And Karoon goes, "Unlike you, Nico." It's like, what are we doing? Like this is so like they don't do that to Jensen. You know what I mean? They don't even do that to Fernando.
Yeah, but here's the thing: Jensen simply does not have any interesting lore. Well, I mean, there
Yeah.
is some interesting Lewis lore, but like
Yeah, they
Jensen
weren't
is
it wasn't like
third. Yeah, but Jensen is third in the most interesting Lewis Hamilton teammate lore
that's true.
debate.
Yeah, that's true.
Um,
But
okay,
yeah, my
quick
competes for
last
Nico
prediction.
Rosberg is my
Quick final prediction before we get out of here. Who's the most random driver to win a race this year? So
Ooh.
nobody who has a career race win, basically. And
Okay.
honestly, I'm gonna say Kimi Antonelli doesn't even really count as that random of a thing, because if we both think Mercedes is winning the
Yeah, then
constructors, like
Lance
really he
Stroll.
ought to. That would be funny.
And then he can like retire and like kind of go out on top or whatever. We can
The
finally
funniest,
win.
the funniest possible outcome of the season, because it doesn't seem like Red Bull's going to be that gonna deliver a race winning car that often, is Isaac Hadjar. but no Max Verstappen wins.
I would love Isaac to get a win. That would be awesome. I don't think,
Think that's because like I don't like would Alex or Carlos? I mean, I guess Alex or Carlos would be
yeah.
like.
But again,
But
if
again,
I
we
think
think
Williams is going
the
to be so competitive that it won't be like random, if that makes sense.
yeah, that's the thing. I don't know. It's going to be fun. It's going to be a great season. Thank you for having me on.
Yes, and thank you everybody for listening. Like and subscribe. Follow Evan on Twitter for your Canadian political analysis.
At EScrimshaw,
Yes, sorry, I don't know it off the top of my head.
I I troll a lot of people and get mad at them, and then somehow I helped to throw in a prime minister one time.
He also promotes Russian propaganda in his free time. Only,
I
only,
was called a Russian propagandist for
yes.
correctly pointing out that Justin Trudeau was losing by 25 points, and maybe just maybe we shouldn't allow a right wing conservative to take power.
Which, to be
Almost as
fair,
if
the
it's
funniest part of that is probably that those people think that Vladimir Putin cares that much about Justin Trudeau. But
oh yeah, no, that is the funniest thing because trust me, I would have